I woke up on my 35th birthday to the dull, rhythmic beeping of my phone's alarm. It felt like a countdown to judgment rather than celebration. The apartment was quiet, sunlight slanting through half-drawn curtains onto the mess of thrift store books and empty coffee mugs that doubled as pen holders on my desk. I rolled over, squinted at the ceiling, and asked myself, how did I get here? Yesterday had been fine. My partner, Luis, surprised me with breakfast burritos and a hand-lettered card. Happy 35th. You're amazing. I'd laughed at the cheesy font and given him a hug that nearly knocked the coffee off the table. You know I hate fuss, I'd protested. But thanks. Then came the afternoon call from my parents. They weren't typical phone calls. Instead of happy birthday or how's it feel to be 35. My mother's voice was clipped, diplomatic. Your father and I need to talk, she said. My stomach sank as I braced for a lecture. I told her to call back later, but she insisted. I ended up on a 2-hour call with both of them, 3 screens open. My work email, a coding tutorial tab, I'm a web developer, and a frozen Zoom waiting room I'd accidentally created when I tried to screen share a birthday cake image. But they weren't even in the Zoom room. They were on the phone. My work laptop pinged every time I looked away. They started gently, "You've grown so much, sweetie," then pivoted hard. My dad's voice trembled, "But we can't keep subsidizing your lifestyle." My mom chimed in, softer but insistent. "We've noticed you haven't paid us back the rent advances from college. And that trip to Europe last year, you know how hard we worked to save for our retirement. We're not made of money." I blinked at my screen, my hands stilled on the keyboard. "Mom, Dad, I've been fine since I stopped taking your money. I have my own place now. My job's stable." My dad cut me off.
Stable?
"You left the big firm to freelance. You're making half of what you did before. That's irresponsible. Selfish." There it was. Selfish. My mom repeated it, in a more wounded tone. "All these years you've taken from us gifts, loans, help, without thinking of our needs. We're worried about your future." My future? Their future was eroding as the market tanked, their home equity dwindling, and yet they blamed me for taking an extra $500 toward my student loans last spring. It was surreal, the people who gave me everything accusing me of greed. Luis caught my eye over video. His mouth twisted with sympathy. I mouthed, "I'm so sorry," and shut the laptop. I ended the call without another word and sank into my chair, phone clenched in my hand. My 35th birthday felt like a funeral for the relationship I'd had with my parents. All night I lay awake, mind racing, replaying their words. Selfish, a burden, irresponsible, and yet I'd worked 3 jobs to pay rent, managed my finances meticulously, and even sent them money when they were upside down during the recession. My freelance rates had doubled in the past 2 years. I was no financial drain, quite the opposite. They were judging me based on what they feared losing in their golden years. But I refused to be their scapegoat. Somewhere around 3 a.m., as insomnia gave way to a grim determination, I drafted a plan. I would cancel every recurring payment they received from me. Automatic rent reimbursements, monthly groceries, that annual subscription to the genealogy site they thought they needed. If they wanted to call me selfish, I'd show them that I controlled the tap. No more rescue missions, no more bailouts. At 7 a.m., I logged into my bank's online portal. My account list was a digital lineage of obligations. Transaction grocery transfer. Mom and Dad, $200. Monthly, transaction. Rent share, March $500. Transaction. Heritage Line subscription, $99. Annual. The total came to about $899 per month, and another $99 yearly. Over a decade, that was a tidy sum, but the rhetoric of my parents had been clear. I was taking without thought. Now it was time for them to reckon with my autonomy. I clicked Manage Recurring and watched each entry vanish. "Are you sure?" the site asked. My finger hovered over Confirm. My heart pounded. Finally, I clicked. The transfers disappeared. I felt a surge of righteous anger and relief flood through me. Next, I drafted an email to my parents. The subject line was simple: effective today. I wrote, "Mom, Dad, I've decided to cancel all recurring payments from my account to yours, effective immediately, including rent reimbursements, grocery transfers, and the Heritage Line subscription. I've taken care of these out of love and support for you, but your words last night made it clear that my generosity is unwelcome. I'm proud of how I manage my finances independently, and I trust you can handle yours without my assistance. I hope this helps you reflect on the nature of our relationship. Happy birthday to me. I hope your day was kinder than mine. Love me. I reread it in horror and pride, then pressed send. My finger trembled, but I couldn't take it back. I sent a quick follow-up to Luis. It's done. His reply was immediate. I'm here. Love you. His unwavering support was the only steady thing in my life right now. By noon, the first responses arrived. My dad's text read, "We'll talk later. Not how you should treat your family." My mom's was more curt, disappointed. I expected anger, maybe tears, but I was braced for it. That evening, they called together separate phones. I answered Dad's first. "Your message was hurtful," he said, voice colder than before. I drew a breath. "Dad, you called me selfish. You accused me of taking advantage. I canceled the payments so you'd stop calling me something I'm not." He paused. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe you'll see that I'm serious about boundaries." I hung up. Mom phoned next, her voice tight. "You're cutting us off? After everything we did for you?" "Everything you did," I said. "You did with love. But last night, you showed me that my support came with a price. Constant judgment. I can't pay that." Silence. Then a sigh. "I suppose we'll manage." I ended the call gently. My heart ached, but I felt lighter, like I'd reclaimed a piece of myself. The next day at work, news spread fast. My team noticed my distracted morning. My boss, Angela, looked up from her desk. "Tough birthday, huh?" I managed a wry smile. "You could say that." She nodded sympathetically. "If you need time off, I'll be fine," I said. "Just drawing some lines." She didn't pry. Instead, she handed me a slice of leftover birthday cake from the team potluck. "For your real birthday." I laughed, tears pricking. It felt good to be seen by chosen family. That night, I sat on the couch with a bottle of rosé, the empty apartment feeling more like home than ever. I scrolled through my bank app and confirmed the cancellations. The entries were gone. No more monthly transfer. Mom and Dad. It felt oddly liberating. My phone buzzed, a notification from Heritage Lines. "Subscription canceled. We're sorry to see you go." I stared at the message. My parents had spent afternoons exploring family trees. I'd financed it. Now they'd lose that. I felt a flicker of guilt, quickly replaced by resolution. As I sipped my wine, I realized this was more than financial retribution. It was a statement I would no longer subsidize judgment. If they wanted to view my independence as selfish, they could do it on their own dime. I traced the rim of my glass and smiled. Tomorrow I'd sleep in. No transfers. No guilt. Just me, my home, and the knowledge that some relationships only heal when you dare to protect yourself first. And so I closed my eyes, feeling 35 for the first time, not indebted, not judged, but finally in control of my own balance sheet, financially and emotionally. The next morning, I woke to silence, punctuated only by the hum of the air conditioner. No guilt-laden chime from my bank app. No dreaded approved text. I stretched, reached for my phone, and saw a single missed call, my brother Peter. I knew what he'd say before I called back. "Hey kiddo," he began, voice soft. "Heard about the payments. Dad and Mom are struggling." My chest tightened. "I know. They want to talk," he said. "They're asking if you can come by tonight, maybe clear the air." I hesitated. The thought of facing them again, after I'd burned that bridge, made my stomach twist. But I missed them too. Our family wasn't perfect, but it was ours. And maybe they needed hearing the truth in person, not through cold texts. "Okay," I said. "I'll come by." That evening, I parked in the driveway of the house where I'd grown up, a place filled with echoes of birthday cakes, scraped knees, and late-night kitchen talks. The porch light glowed like an invitation and a warning. I took a deep breath and walked inside. Mom sat at the kitchen table, head in her hands. Dad stood at the sink, rinsing a dish like a robot. When I cleared my throat, they looked up. "Thanks for coming," Dad said, voice low. I nodded, taking the seat across from Mom. The table was bare except for a wilted flower in a cracked vase. I folded my hands. "You wanted to talk." Mom wiped her eyes. "I'm sorry," she began, voice trembling. "We were harsh. We were scared about our own future, and we lashed out." Dad set the dish aside. He sat too, his suit jacket still on. You're right. We painted you as the villain in our worries. But that's on us. We should have asked, not accused. I closed my eyes, relief and pain mingling. I canceled the payments because I felt judged. You called me selfish when I was trying to stand on my own. Mom reached across, took my hand. You're not selfish, you're our daughter. We forgot that. Dad nodded. We thought we were protecting our nest, but we ended up poking at yours. We sat in silence, the old tension draining away. Then I spoke. I never meant to punish you. I just needed boundaries. I love you both, but I can't bail you out every time you feel anxious about retirement. Mom squeezed my hand. We understand. Let's figure out a way forward. Over the next hour, we drawn up a plan. I'd resume a reduced, fixed monthly transfer. Not rent shares, but a modest stipend for essentials, terms we agreed on together. They'd track their own budget, reduce unnecessary expenses, and look into downsizing if needed. We'd revisit it every quarter, talk honestly before letting blame slip in. When we finished, Mom brought out a slice of lemon cake, my favorite, and Dad poured tea. We sat together on the couch, reminiscing my terrible first sleepover cake, Dad's off-key renditions of nursery rhymes, and Mom's bedtime stories about strong, independent heroines. Laughter bubbled up, warm and healing. That night, as I let myself into my apartment, I felt something settle in my chest, not just peace with my parents, but pride in standing up for myself, and humility in letting them stand up for themselves. I poured a glass of water, sat in the living room, and gazed at the city lights. Boundaries had created space for empathy, and tough choices had led to honest conversations. Tomorrow, I'd log back into my bank app and restore the agreed transfers. But more importantly, I'd carry forward the lesson. Love isn't measured in dollars alone, but in respect, accountability, and the courage to say no, so we can say yes to what truly matters. And in that quiet moment, with the night humming outside my window, I realized that turning 35 wasn't the end of anything. It was the start of a new chapter, one where I set the terms of my life and nurtured the family ties that mattered most.